Hello, everyone, and welcome to Move Daily Talks. I'm your host, Tracy Steen, and today it's a solo podcast. I'm just myself today, and we're talking about the number one habit that I think is crucial for getting fit and staying fit for the long haul. Okay, let's jump into this conversation. So, one of the things that I would tell my clients, I tell my members all the time is that favorite quote of mine from Ovid: dripping water on the stone hollows it out, not through force, but through persistence. It's that consistent drip, drip, drip of the water on the stone that makes it smooth, that hollows it out. And the same is true with those micro processes in your life. It's the continual drip of waking up in the morning and showing up for your workouts. It's the continual drip of prioritizing your mental health and making sure that you get that 5 to 10 minute meditation in every day. It's that continual drip of making wise choices in the kitchen the lion's share of the time. I think what happens is that so often life gets in the way and seasons change. And so we might be on the path, a good path towards health and fitness and prioritizing ourselves. And then a parent gets sick, or then a child needs help, or then we lose a job, or then our marriage is in trouble. And those things can come in and really deter our progress forward. And one of the things that I think is really crucial is that you always keep in the back of your mind how important it is for you to put yourself as a priority, for you to put yourself at the top of the list. There was a really good illustration that I used years ago about the glass ball analogy, right? We have a lot of rubber balls that we tend to juggle in our lives. Sometimes it's our job, sometimes it's the PTA or the driving duty. And those are balls that we can drop. And if we drop it, that ball is going to bounce back up. But there are a couple balls that we have that are made of glass, and our health is a glass ball. It's one of those that's definitely, you don't want to be dropping that. And I think sometimes we get this mindset that I feel okay today. And so I'm not going to do much. I don't have to do much in order to prevent anything because I feel okay. I'm good. My heart's ticking. My legs are working. Everything feels okay. And yet, JFK says so eloquently, the time to fix the roof is when the sun is shining. And so for me, thinking about that as a priority, that even though I feel okay today, it is mandatory for me to be dripping water on the stone in little ways every single day. I call these those micro processes. And I know we have some larger habits that are really important, but I think those micro processes, those little movements forward, those little, rungs up the ladder where we're climbing and moving toward these targets are they equally important. So I think if I were to put it into categories, I would think of this in 4 different important buckets. Number one is daily movement. What am I doing to move my body every single day? I think movement is crucial. When we're sedentary, we don't have increased blood flow, which means we can increase in inflammation, disease, and decay. But when we increase blood flow, that helps the blood flow through the arteries, through the veins. It gets our body moving. It increases our heart rate. It helps to pump oxygen through to our extremities. It wakes our brain up. It turns over cells. It's just such a great thing for us. Plus, it can improve our mental health, bring clarity, make us feel good about ourselves, increase confidence. There's a lot of reasons why moving daily is crucial. But if we can think of it again in this bucket, what have I done today to move my body? And it might be a structured workout. It might be aiming for that 10,000 steps. It might be some of those smaller movements like VILPA, vigorous intermittent lifestyle physical activity, where you're just doing your daily actions like walking from the grocery store to the car, but with more vigor. I heard that on Dr. Rhonda Patrick's podcast once. And I loved that thought that when you are walking up the stairs, why don't you sprint up the stairs instead? Why don't you do your daily actions and activities with more vigor? And again, this can increase your heart rate. It can increase your caloric expenditure throughout the day, and it just gets you moving. Similarly, you can include exercise snacks throughout the day. So maybe you don't have time for a structured workout, but you set the little timer and it reminds you to move every hour on the hour. And maybe you're going to do 20 squat jumps or 2 flights of stairs. Any movement is good movement. So think about, what have you done today to move your body daily? And whatever it is, just do something. I think the second thing to be consistent in is balanced nutrition. And I know that there is so much information on the web right now that can be confusing about nutrition, but there are some basic principles that most groups can agree on. And one of those things being choosing whole foods the majority of the time. That you can pick, chase, grow whole foods that are packed with protein, micronutrient dense, right? Complex carbohydrates, healthy fats, and making those choices the lion's share of the time. I think it's important for consistency that we also allow some flexibility. We allow those times to enjoy a treat or have something that we're really craving. I think that's important. I don't want to be so structured and strict that that's not a part of my life. I was in Europe recently, and as if I wasn't going to enjoy some of those gelatos and cappuccinos and croissants on a regular basis, I knew that I wasn't going to do it forever. I knew that it was a 2-week period. I knew that my body was moving and I was getting lots of steps in, and I felt great about making those choices. Again, I look for consistency over time. What am I doing the lion's share of the time? What's my 80-20 principle, where 80% of the time I'm focused on what's on my plate? Again, making sure that I get in that adequate protein, high fiber content, micronutrient dense foods. And then 20% of the time, I'm not too stringent about it. The third thing that I think is super important to be consistent in is that sleep. And having just been in Europe and traveling that 8-hour time change, it was tough. It was tough to get sleep. It was tough to recover from jet lag. But you just see how important sleep is. I really think it's the foundation. And I've done a lot of coaching calls on sleep within our membership. And we've learned a lot about sleep lately in the last 5 years. There's so many more studies coming out. We see how it impacts our ability to increase lean muscle tissue if we don't get adequate amounts of sleep. We see how it impacts our ability to reduce body fat percentage if we don't get adequate amounts of sleep. So prioritizing sleep is really important. And then I think mindset would be the final little bucket that I think we need to be consistent in. Having that consistent positive mindset that believes in yourself and that believes that change is possible. That's self-efficacy, right? This is the belief that you can change. And they say that that is the greatest predictor of exercise adherence, is when we actually believe that change is possible. And so what I think is important there is that you do something that gives you a home run so that you feel like you're succeeding. So that might be setting the bar slightly lower so that you can actually get that home run, so that you can actually succeed in a week's worth of workouts. Even if you've set yourself up to say, okay, I'm doing it 3 times a week, 20 minutes each time. If you can do that, I mean, you can always increase it later, but then you feel like you have accomplished something. You feel like you've gotten a home run, and that can build belief in yourself that change is possible. And then you're going to want to show up the next day because you already believed that you could do it. So it is a wonderful little cycle of self-belief. It's consistency that ties all of these habits together to help us move forward toward our target. About 13 years ago, I started my YouTube channel, and I started by doing a few recipes. Please don't go back and watch these old ones. They are still on my channel, but they're slightly embarrassing. But I started with a lot of hope that I would grow this channel, that it would, make me money, that it would be big, that I would have lots of followers. That was my hopes and dreams when I started it. I actually did a figure competition back in 2010, and that's why I launched the channels, to sort of film my progress in that figure competition. And then afterwards, I decided to do a few nutrition videos, and I saw that I wasn't getting a lot of followers. I wasn't getting great response. And so, to my chagrin and anger at myself, I actually stopped posting on YouTube. I didn't close my channel down, thank goodness, but I didn't post anymore for probably 5-6 years, until one of my friends said to me, if you want to grow, Tracy, in your company, in your business, you need to be one to thousands instead of one-on-one. At the time, I was a personal trainer and I was just training one person at a time, having impact with one-on-one. And so when he said that, I was really impacted by that. I thought, okay, how do I be one to thousands? And one of the things I knew that I had in my back pocket was the YouTube channel. So I thought, okay, what if I started being consistent with this? What if I go all in and just say 2 days a week without fail, even if I feel like I don't have any ideas, if I don't know what to film, I'm going to put something up on YouTube. And I started with my phone, right out on my deck and in my living room with minimal equipment, and I started filming. And then right at the time I decided to get back onto YouTube, they changed how you can make money from ads. So now you had to have over 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And I was just under that amount. So I wasn't monetized, wasn't making any money. And it seemed really challenging and hard, but I had committed to myself that I was going to stick with it. So I decided to just stay the course. I actually, at the same time, hired this business coach, and it was great. I learned a lot from her and what to do. But one of the things she had me do was to think about how many subscribers I wanted to get in that year and aim high, set the bar high. And so I said, I think I'll be at 100,000 subscribers this year. And, the weeks came and went, the months came and went, and I wasn't even close to 100,000. And I remember when December came, and I think it was probably at 40,000 versus 100,000. And I became quite discouraged at the progress. Not looking at the fact that I had grown that year from 20 to 40,000, but really thinking, oh, I missed the mark of where I had set my target. I wanted 100,000. I should have got 100,000. And a huge part of me felt like quitting. I thought, well, this isn't really working. I'm not really good at this. I shouldn't do this. But I don't know what it was inside me. I decided to stay the course. I decided to do hard things, be consistent, and be okay with that uncomfortable time where it doesn't look like I'm making progress forward. Because that happens, doesn't it? It happens in our workouts. It happens in our nutrition. If we're trying to diet down and lose body fat or change our body composition, there will be weeks and months even where you don't see a big shift and change. And so often then we just give up, or we'll throw the baby out with the bathwater and we'll say, this isn't working for me. But if you had just stayed the course, you would have attained that goal eventually and been further ahead. I think this is so true of so many things for us. It was true of my YouTube channel. It wasn't even that next year that I reached 100,000. I think it was the following year. It took a long time, way longer than I thought it would. But had I not stayed the course through those uncomfortable times and through that time where I wasn't seeing progress as fast as I wanted, I would have never reached the target. Dripping water on the stone hollows it out, not through force, but through persistence. And that is my encouragement for you today, is that whatever you are working on in your fitness, wellness, and nutrition, the key is to be consistent. The key is to stay the course over time. The key is to drip the water on the stone so that it hollows it out, not through force, but through that persistent action. It will happen. It may take longer than you think, but if you stay the course, you will get there. Thanks for joining, everyone. I encourage you now to go move daily in your fitness, wellness, and nutrition, and I'll see you in the next Move Daily Talks.